It's Ron Reader Digs the Universe. I'm Ron Reader, and this is Ron Reader Digs the Universe. And tonight, taxes and the little people. Not to be confused with Darby O'Gill and the little people. That's a totally different thing. Gulliver's Travels too, not that. In 1989, real estate magnate and hotelier Leona Helmsley was convicted of income tax evasion, which stemmed from an investigation into her stiffing contractors who had renovated her home. Really, she was something of a proto-Trump, a total scumbag so evil that she evicted her son's widow the day after he died of a heart attack. Fuck Leona Helmsley. She was a fucking billionaire parasite. Anyway, in her trial, a former maid who had been called to testify reported that she once heard Helmsley say, "We don't pay taxes. Only little people pay taxes." Indeed, and it seems very little has changed in the intervening 3 decades. Likely it's gotten much, much worse. There are a lot of other factors involved, of course, but it's pretty clear that mass income tax evasion among the corporations and super wealthy has played a big role in making them richer than most Americans can comprehend, to the tune of $2.3 trillion. And that's a lowball estimate, stashed away in offshore accounts and other tax havens. You remember the first lines of Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Space is big, really big, you just won't believe how vastly, hugely, mind-bogglingly big it is. I mean, you may think it's a long way down the road to the chemist, but that's peanuts compared to space. You can say essentially the same thing about the super rich. I mean, you may think that guy who won $50 million in the lottery is rich, but that's just peanuts compared to the super rich. They own and operate senators. They literally write the tax code to benefit themselves, and they still hate paying taxes. They send highway projects through poor black neighborhoods. They hook people on opioids. They price gouge life-saving meds. They impoverish third world countries and increasingly us. We don't live in a democratic republic. We live in a plutocratic republic, rule by the wealthy. These people are literally our masters. They own the entire nation. And that's why the establishment is always tripping out over the federal spending deficit. We can't pay for social programs. They cost too much. What part of "we don't have the money" don't you understand? Except that we do have the money. We always have the money. This nation is extraordinarily rich in terms of labor, capital, and natural resources. And all that money just sits in gigantic dragon hoards where parasite billionaires luxuriate and masturbate, getting off on all their jewels and doubloons, stinking up the place with their foul dragon stench. It's a lot like elephant stench at the circus, but far worse. No, they don't invest it in ways that will grow the economy. We've been studying this for decades, and by and large, the rich just use all these tax savings to feel good about being rich. Job creators? What a laugh. They're parasites, sucking up the wealth of the nation while we watch and suffer. All we have to do is take their money. Then we can have everything a good 21st century society ought to have. For that matter, getting back to the little people who do pay taxes, we don't even need to have an income tax at all. Wealth and financial transaction taxes could easily pay for everything we need and more, still leaving the wealthy pretty damned wealthy. I don't know if it's by design, but it seems that the major role for the income tax is to make the little people hate the very concept of taxes, which plays politically directly into the hand of tax-dodging billionaires. So, let's abolish the income tax and suck the parasites dry. It's the only way to go. But, of course, I'm not holding my breath on that. Instead, I'm gonna file my return, pay taxes on the paltry $20K I made last year. I mean, I don't want to slightly inconvenience the billionaire parasites, do I? Y'all think about that next week when you're paying your taxes. You suffer so that the rich can live possessing unimaginable power and wealth. I'm Ron Reeder, and this has been Ron Reeder Digs the Universe. Join me, Ron Reeder, again next week for another episode of Ron Reeder Digs the Universe. It's a lot like elephant stench at the circus, but far worse.